Is this working? It hasn't told me we're live yet. Hello. I'm so sorry. Okay. I am Emma. Our company is Nurturing by Nature, and I'm coming to you today to talk about weight management for your pets. So we do a Friday live every week. I'm in the kitchen at Nurturing by Nature today, and I guess we can make a start. So we want to talk about why managing your pet's weight is really important, what foods we're going to use to promote a healthy weight, and how often it is a good idea to keep an eye on your pet's weight. How often should you weigh your pets? Right, I've got some products here to show you as well. So realistically, we would treat your pets as you would look at your own diet. So the main thing is to feed a variety over time. And if you feel that your pet might be a little bit overweight or underweight, then ultimately we can help you. We have got a veterinary nurse that works with us. Her name is Sue, and she is always on hand to be able to offer you some advice, what to do. She'll even come and meet you. We can look at your pet. And the good news about our stores is that our stores have all got scales in, and our website, which is nurturingbynature.co.uk, has got a dedicated area where you can put your details of your pet into it, and you can keep a track of their weight, so you can actually use it. And once you've added in 3 weights, you can actually see the progress that your pet's doing. And if you want to, you can even add in their ideal weight. So I know I used to work in the veterinary practice where Sue used to do weight management clinics, and they're always very popular and really successful. So it's, even if you've got a query, we'll have a look and we will help you. So we have got, you get extreme cases, you get dogs and cats that are far too thin, some that are a little bit and more than just a bit overweight. So it happens. And you know what? It doesn't matter. You can change it when you know what's different. So we don't really judge at Nurturing by Nature, but we just like to work together to help you and your pets have a better and healthier life. So, weight management. Oh, Friday today, obviously, I'm doing a live. And also, if you happen to be on Instagram and Facebook, be sure to check out the Fun Time Friday prize. It's a wobble bowl with peanut butter as well. So that's our Fun Time Friday prize. And you have 2 chances to win if you go and enter on Facebook and enter on Instagram as well. So we've got our shops open this weekend as well. I can go through those quickly. We have 4 stores: Upton, we have Westmoors, we have Christchurch, and we have Wimborne, which is at Pamp Hill. All of them are open the weekend. We've got 2 of them are open on Sunday as well. So Christchurch and the Pamp Hill store are both open on Sunday. So if you're looking for something to do on the weekend, come and see us. We'd love to meet you, and this might inspire you to maybe bring your dogs in to weigh as well. So as we've got the scales in all of our stores, you can call into any one of those and get your dog weighed. Another place you could get your dog weighed would be your veterinary practice. I would imagine it wouldn't be a charge to go in and just weigh your pet. Generally, hopefully, that is the case. So if you want to keep an eye on your pet's weight and you aren't near one of our stores, pop into your local veterinary practice and pop on the scales there with them. And how often should you weigh your pets? I would imagine, I know that the best frequency is not to do it too often. So if we're doing a weight management program for us, we might weigh in once a week. So once a week, once a fortnight for your pet is absolutely fine. And keep an eye on it. Either keep a diary, or even better, use the system on our website to keep a record of your pet's weight, and it gives you a nice graph. Okay, so every 2 weeks, ideally. If you want to do it a bit more frequently, don't do any more than once a week, because you won't necessarily see a difference necessarily. It could be the fact that your dog hasn't had a poo that day, because you don't want massive amounts of weight lost in a small period of time. You want all of your dog's weight to come off nice and slowly, and vice versa. If your dog's too thin, you don't want them to put huge amounts of weight on immediately. So we've got some food here that can help you. I'm sort of more focusing on losing weight today, but we've got some lower fat treats here and lower fat meats. So, but fat is not bad. That brings me on to fat. Fat is not all bad. Fat is your dog's energy source. So your dogs do need fat in their diet to get on, really. Humans rely on carbohydrates, and dogs rely on fats. That is their energy source. If you were, watching maybe like the program about snow dogs or the Eskimo dogs, they feed their dogs fat. That's one of the protein sources they've actually got available to them. So I imagine it's quite minimal out there, but they use the fat and extra fat on days to get those dogs running a bit further. And that is where the energy comes from. And they break it down. They're very well equipped to break down fats. They use a few carbs in their diet. So carbs aren't a no-no at all. You can use a little bit of carbs, and dogs will, especially at this time of year, you'll see them go out and they'll get some berries. They'll happily eat those. And they have got digestive enzymes within their system that will break those down, because they've got certain enzymes that are there for digesting starches and sugars, but you want to avoid them more than, so treats, as far as things like that go, natural treats are good. Some people like to give carrots as a treat. I'd avoid that personally because it's quite a starchy vegetable. But the harder and the longer the dog's activity, the more fat that they will need. So if you've got a working dog, if you've got an agility dog, you might want to feed appropriately on the days that they're working or at a competition, because they're going to need more fat to burn. And it's not just about chunks of meat or mince either. Fat can be found in liquid form as well. And if you're feeding a liquid fat, then go for a animal fat or a fish. An animal fat is better, ideally, harder to find. But if you want to balance the fats out better, you want to find something that they can break down easier. So a lot of people could use things like coconut oil as well. Not as easy and not very beneficial, really. Good for their coat necessarily when you rub it into their coat, but actually ingesting it, not so necessary. So I would say things like adding in whole small fish, sprats are ideal. We do sell lots of sprats, and they're an ideal balancing product to help you balance out your dog's meals and give them different fats in their meals. So definitely think about using sprats. You can have dried ones, or you can have the frozen ones. And our sprats, you'll find them on the website and in the stores. They're individually frozen. It's called IQF, individually quick frozen. So the sprats are all loose in a bag. You get a kilo-ish in a bag, and you can just take 1 or 2 out and give those in their meal. A whole bowl of sprats they might not enjoy, so I definitely recommend mixing them in with other meats. So generally, for weight management, if you think your dog is too big, you're going to feed less. If you think your pet is too small, you're going to feed more. It sounds really simple, and it can be, but also you need to think about how your dog's going to you need to think about how you're going to feed your larger or smaller meals for your dogs, so you can make them more interesting. So if you've got a dog or a cat that you want to lose weight with, why not consider using more of an enrichment type of bowl? So maybe the wobble bowls that you get, that's the one that we're doing with the Fun Time Friday. Or you've got things like the Kongs, or even a toy with a hole in, like these Biko balls. These are good. You could stuff these. So that would be an enriching meal. They're going to get the amount of food that they need for that meal, and you're going to pop it in here, maybe put it back in the freezer potentially, and then they have to work to get it out of there. If you don't think that's strong enough for your dog, maybe consider one of the Kongs. But reports are that these are actually pretty tough. So, the reports with one of our team members, his dog loves these, and he usually destroys things, and he hasn't done so far yet. So that's a really good bit of feedback. Thank you, Duncan. And you want to look at using things like this to make your dog's days more interesting. You could even do things like take some treats and hide them in some paper bags or wrapped up newspaper and hide them around the house, so you're keeping your pet more active. You would look at your dog's shape. That's one of the best ways. So everyone is different. All the dogs are different. And I've got a demo dog here. Come along. Here we go. So he's sitting down, which isn't ideal. But when you've got your dog looking, I mean, this fella's a little bit on, well, it's furry, so it's harder to actually see how fat your dog is if they've got a longer coat like the golden retriever. However, this is the area here that you might want to focus on. First of all, we're going to have a look and see if they've got a bit of a waist. Does it go in around here? And if your dog's straight down like an ironing board, you might want to consider a bit of weight management. Okay, so this golden retriever has got good coverage, got a lot of fur, so probably not overweight. And obviously it's a stuffed toy, can't really feel for any ribs, but that's what I would do. You've got your dog, you'd have a look around here. You don't want to be able to see their ribs, but you want to be able to feel them when you touch them lightly. So you want to feel some ribs in there. So that's our golden retriever. And that's the areas you want to look at to start off with, to look to see if your dog is too fat or too thin. If your dog is extremely thin, their ribs will be pronounced. They'll have a tiny waist area. They'll see bony parts on the back of their tail, and on their head is usually quite domed as well. So that's a sign of an underweight dog. But, you know, have a look online. You can see lots of pictures of dogs. This one doesn't have a name. You can name them if you like. Lots of pictures online of fat and thin dogs, and good examples. Usually, quite often, the dogs that you see on telly, especially things like Labradors on Crufts, generally tend to be a little bit overweight, so they're not a very good example. They do like them chubby in the show ring, but you want a nice lean dog, lots of health. So the leaner and healthier they are, the longer they're going to be with you potentially. So that's what we're looking at the shape of your dog. And if you feel that your dog just needs to lose a little bit of weight, then you would feed for the amount that you want that dog to be. So you've got a golden retriever. Depending on the size of the dog, because obviously they come in different sizes, males and females also different sizes, you'll be looking to feed 2 to 3% of that adult dog's weight in meat per day. And if your dog is only a little bit overweight or underweight, you can do that by adding an extra meal. You can add it extra meal through the day, or you can just add a little bit more to their meals, or indeed take it away. So we would reduce the food amount slowly, little by little, because what you don't want to do for you and for your dog to think that they have had some part of them cut off and they're absolutely starving. You don't want them to be starving, because you could encourage other behaviours that you don't want, such as bin raiding potentially. And also for us, you know, we don't like to see our dog looking hungry. It's quite hard to see that. So it's a good way to look at how much they need for the day and weigh it all out together, and then put that into a bowl, into the fridge, into the freezer, and that's your dog's allowance. And you could put treats as well, so you might weigh the treats in, and low-fat treats ideally for a dog that you're trying to lose weight, so they burn off some of the fat that's within their body. So basically, you know, when you know better, you do a bit better. We don't really judge at Nurturing by Nature. And if your dog is incredibly overweight, there's no quick fix. You're not going to be able to wake up the next day and he's back to a slim dog again. You need to do it slowly, really slow, really steady, and even consult a veterinary professional potentially if you need that sort of help. There might be underlying causes for the weight gain, or it might be that he's just a bit fond of cheese. So look at the treats that you're giving your dog. Choose things or portion out parts of their food that they can have instead of a treat. Not always practical with raw food. I appreciate that, especially when you're on a walk. You don't really want a frozen Sprat in your pocket. So you could use something along these lines. This is the turkey pate. This is one of the small pieces, smaller one of them. This is 80 grams. You've got them all sorts of sizes. Generally, we have the 200 grams. But the turkey pate here is 9% natural oils and fats. So that's quite nice. And you can probably get, if you work really hard and chop this up really small, you keep this in the fridge, and then you can use a little piece of this when you're out walking, and it's quite a high value reward as well, because it's not nice and smelly. So that would be a good one to have if you're on a weight management program. But it's important not to remove treats altogether. And then say you've got bit of peace and quiet in the evening, they could have a stinky stick, which is one of these, the tripe stick. This tripe stick is basically about a 9% fat, so not minimal, but it's quite hard wearing potentially, depending on your dog. Some dogs got harder mouth and they get through it really quickly, but I don't see any big lumps of fats on here. But what I do see is lots of nice ridges that will help to clean your dog's teeth. So a nice treat that, although it's smelly because it's a stinky stick, you can get these on our website, you can get these in our stores. $2.99 for 200 grams, so that's a 200-gram packet. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, about 11 like decent sized pieces of tripe stick in there. So, you know, you can have 1 or 2 of them in an evening, weighed in as part of their allowance, and then you know that your dog's getting the right amount. So there's a couple of treats there as options for you. So what we said, if your dog or cat is massively overweight or underweight, then you need to take it really slowly. You potentially add an extra meal in for an underweight dog, or remove part of your dog's meals, but never go to a situation where they think that they're absolutely starving. So don't do that. You need to make sure that you do it in a nice, healthy way. So yeah, in more extreme cases, we'd take a slower approach. So weigh in treats as allowance. We can do all sorts of treats. Again, it doesn't have to be low fat. You just need to be aware of what you're giving and make sure that you treat accordingly, rather than, oh, we've just emptied the packet, that sort of thing. So a day at a time, really. Weigh out the dog's treats, weigh out the dog's food a day at a time. If you've got space to do it the night before, at least then you and the family have all got one reference point. This is how much Bruce is having for the day. He's having this amount of treats and he's having this much food, and it's all there ready to go, and everyone knows the score, and get the family involved in it as well, because there's usually one person in the family that's the offender potentially. That dog has got a little bit chubby. I don't want to be mean, but you know what it's like. Oh, but he loves a bit of ham, you know. So and a bit of ham's fine, you know. Bit of ham's fine here and there. It's quite salty, but you're having it as a treat. Just weigh it in, guys. That's all you need to do. So if you're looking for treats to give, look for things that are very simple and natural. Single proteins, they're a good idea, like the tripe sticks, like the turkey. That's a single protein pate. The sprats, you've got the dried sprats as well, single protein again. So you haven't got anything complicating it. It's really simple. You can cut them up small, maybe not the tripe sticks, although you can cut them up with a secateur if you wanted to. But no, simple, easy to digest. And then what you can do for their food, if you think they are looking a little bit hungry, you can add in some extra vegetables. So you could increase the amount of vegetables they're having in their meal, in their bowl. And these are the veggies that we use, but you can make your own. So we've got the raw nuggets from Nature's Menu. That's a kilo bag. We've got those on our website and in our stores again. This is Veggie Boost. This one here hasn't got peas in. This has got swede, butternut squash, red cabbage, carrots, only 10% though. Sweet potatoes, 7%. So that's enough of those. Pears, chickpea, chicory, apple, green bean, plum, strawberry, coconut, soya, and pumpkin. And there is a breakdown of the analytics in there as well. And then you can feed up to sort of 20-30% of this within the food if you think your dog needs bulking out. But if you feed more of this, you'll notice their poos will get bigger, just because a lot of that, you know, might just pass through. You might not use it. And always veggies that you blend down. So these have been blended and frozen. You can do it yourself if you've got one of those Ninja whizzy things. You can put your own veg in there with a bit of water. Leafy green vegetables are very good. Spinach, excellent for the dog. Leafy greens are excellent. You can even go out and pick some grass and put that in it as well. It sounds extreme, but you could do that if you like grass. So yeah, then we avoid the starchy vegetables. So try not to include too many carrots, because they are harder for them to digest and they're quite sugary. And then if we've got an extreme case, we'd be looking for around about 250 gram weight loss in the dog on a weekly basis. And if you weigh every 2 weeks, so that's 500 grams of weight lost. Anything more than that, you want to keep an eye on it because you don't want to lose weight too quickly. You want it to be nice and slow and steady so it supports the whole dog, supports their organs properly. You can, we did go over enrichment meals like this here, feeding in a product like this. That's always a great idea. Feed the dog in something, put it in the freezer, make it harder for them. You can restuff a marrowbone. You can use a Kong if you've got one of those. So that's really basics for looking at a dog that's a little bit overweight. Like I said, Nurturing by Nature has got Sue Sharp and Sue Morris, who is our veterinary nurse, and she will be more than happy to advise you either over the phone or we can set up a meeting if necessary. And then we're going to have a look at dogs and cats that need to put a bit of weight on now. So generally on a raw fed diet, they tend to maintain a really nice weight. They're not usually too fat. They're not usually too thin. Sometimes we have a few chubby dogs in and we'll always say we need to cut down a bit. But if you've got a dog that's recently joined your family that needs to put on weight, you can do this gradually too. And by adding in an extra meal throughout the day is a really good way of doing that. And again, weigh the dog or cat and feed them for what you want them to be in that sense, but you don't want to increase their meals massively really quickly. So gradually increase what they're having over a week or two and keep an eye on their weight. And again, you might want to weigh this way around a little bit more frequently. So at least maybe once a week, have a look and see how they're progressing, because you don't want to get to a point where they're overweight, but you should be able to see their condition from your pet as they're with you all the time. But if you want us to have a look or need a second opinion, then do call in and see us, because we can do that. We've got the scales and we've got team members who know what they're talking about. So if you're adding an extra meal into your dog's diet and dog's routine, don't forget to gradually take it away again. Don't just stop it immediately overnight, because again, they might be a bit miffed because their extra meal's gone. It's a bit like the Hobbit and their second breakfast. What about second breakfast? Well, yes, so don't forget that they will get used to a routine. So again, gradually phase it out. And then a great way of tracking it again is by using the website. So nurturingbynature.co.uk, you register your details, then you can put your pets on there. And each of the pets got their own profile and you can put their weights on there. So once you've put 3 amounts of weights in, you should be able to see a nice graph. And then you can even put an ideal weight to go in as well. So you can track their weight. It's a really good visual for you to see their progress and see how you and the dog are doing, because it's not just about the dog's weight. You're the one in control of this, so you need to see what's going on. And the other thing is it's free to use, so we don't charge you to use it on the website. It's all there, and if you want the teams in the store to do that for you, they'll happily show you. So that's about it today. Hopefully I've covered everything that is interesting for you. Foods promoting a healthy weight, not necessarily low fat, but foods that are low fat are things along the lines of some of the minces that we do, and adding in the vegetables. So there's really low amounts of fat. It doesn't even, there's only 1% of fat in the vegetables, so you can add that in. Like I say, don't forget that fat isn't bad, it is their energy source. So you need some fat within your dog's diet. But I get that another low fat example is the white fish chunks. So that's all white fish. It has got skin on it, so it's slightly higher, but again, it's good for them. It's a natural oil. Natural oils are found in that skin, so don't avoid that completely. Frozen sprats, and we've got other proteins like chicken. Chicken is only 18% protein, and then when you put it in with white fish, you're going to have less, and the white fish is only 1% fat anyway. So you've got chicken and white fish, so that's lower in fat than the plain chicken. And then you've got things like pheasant, although a bit higher, it's better balanced. And I know a lot of dogs struggle with the pheasant, but if you can get your dog to eat it, it's really, really good for them, because it's a wild bird, it's out there, it's busy being a bird. So They're not sat around doing nothing, so they're not building up all those extra fats they don't need. The pheasant is 16% protein and 9.2% fat, so that's another good option. A lot of people would use like wild venison as well if you're looking for that sort of thing. And again, start by introducing single proteins, find those, and then go on to try other meats mixes, chunks of things like the white fish chunks. So the more variety you feed, the better. Over a time period of even a lot, it doesn't have to be a week. It could be 4 or 5 weeks. If you find a bargain in the supermarket or you find a bargain in store, then there's no reason why they can't have that for a week. It's not going to harm, but you just need to vary it over time. So add in some sprats, add in some white fish, add in some different protein sources over time, and you should be fine. We'll always help you if you need a hand. So that's me signing off for today, Nurturing by Nature. Don't forget our stores are open over the weekend. Team members will be happy to help you. We've got the scales. It's really quite a stress-free environment. You're not going to force them on the scales if they don't want to go. We've usually got treats to help them. They tend to happily go on there with the treats. And yeah, so we've got 4 stores and we're based in Dorset, and our website is open 24/7, so you can always pick information up from there. And we've got really handy blogs on there as well, some written by our veterinary nurse Sue, some written by Nettie, who's the founder. So lots of information can be found on our website, and our team members in store should be able to help you as well. So we hope you get the opportunity to come and see us, and I will sign off now, but don't forget to try the Fun Time Friday. Enter that. So on Facebook and on Instagram, you could win a wobble bowl with peanut butter, which is quite good fun. And that would be really good for an enrichment idea for your dog to feed them in. So you can put the minces in the wobble bowl and even back in the freezer. So thanks for joining me. Have a lovely, lovely weekend, and I will see you next week. Thank you.